I was thinking of turning my car into a wee mini camper. Still got my caravan, but I want to really take the car away for 1 or 2 nights, or else even go away for longer periods away down south, where the car is doing 60 miles a gallon. But I want to keep the front seat in at this time. I took the front seat out of the old car. I want to make it easy to get through the MOT. I can take that seat out. I'm leaving it in the meantime because I'm going on caravan holiday in a week, so I need that for Luna. Took off the bottom but here to see how much space there is in the boot. And this car here was meant to have a blue tank. About 2 or 3 months after this car was made, they have AdBlue. This one doesn't have it. It's got the space and all for it, but there never was a tank put in. And I didn't know if this plastic, I don't know if that's supporting or not. So today is only about investigating and what I can do, what I can't do. I want to get the things I want in it. I've got my air fryer, inverter battery, and inverter. I want to get a chemical toilet. You get small chemical toilets. This is why I want to take this floor normally sits on here, and that's your spare wheel. I don't have a spare wheel, but I want to get this lowered down, more space for my feet and stuff, and I want to be able to keep the toilet. Now if I take that seat out, the toilet will go underneath the bed once the bed's in. Everything has to be so it lifts out. I want to make a kind of a unit for this side, but it has to be so Luna can still go and out that door underneath the unit. So the unit will block up the whole door, and that's where the air fryer is going to be. The air fryer will be behind my seat. But the first thing you need to do before anything is you need to get blackouts on your windows. All sorts of prices. But I'm running into an old problem I had before in this car. Got this material here from Amazon. 26 pounds. Oh, the focus is away out here. The sun's shining on it. It's good Reflectix in there. So it's black on one side, silver on the other. It comes with all the fittings and all, but I ran into an old problem. Velcro. It comes with Velcro and it comes with permanent. Why you want permanent, I don't know. But I ran into an old problem. My sat nav was sat down there for ages. I cannot get nothing to stick to the dash of this car. I can't even get the hot glue gun to stick to the dash of this car. So a bit of a problem here now. Originally I was going to stick it up there, and now it doesn't work. So I've tried clamping it in here. How long it's going to work like that, clamping it in. Now I've got to get the sides done. As far as the doors and all go, I can use magnets. I'm going to send away for magnets. I can use magnets to clip on here, so the doors aren't going to be a problem. I was going to keep the sides one big piece, but I have to do them individually now with magnets. Gravity, I'll make it too long. Gravity will hold it in there, and put the magnets on here. So the whole thing will be cut bigger. It's not, you see these people putting Reflectix and all, the exact size, and you always get a wee bit of light. This is going to be cut bigger, so there's plenty of room. I don't have to line it up, don't have to spend ages lining it up. It could be 2 inches too big all around, I don't care. I'll make it bigger on my magnets, so I know now to order magnets. So this is only, see what I have to order and what I don't have to order. This is going to be a handle now, this dashboard. I cut it lengthwise. I was thinking these wee metal washers, if there's some way of getting metal washers on, then I could use magnets for the rest of it. But it might go on the glue gun, the metal washers. I'll clean them up a wee bit. But see, they're bagging all day. You don't want to mess about with that. But I've just noticed now that the window gets slightly wider as it goes down, and I think it might be a wee bit too short. So what I'll do is I'll make that a bit longer, the curtain on that side, so it joins onto that, and use a couple of wee clamps. And that should hold everything together. It's very warm now today. Another problem I was looking at then, I need to get power to the inverter battery. Easy enough, I'm just going to run on a cable. But look at that there. Nothing's easy in this car. Nothing is easy. The actual power thing in that car there, I can't add another wire on it. There's no wee extra bolt to put a wire on. So unless I end up getting drill a hole through there and a self-tapper, everything has to be worked out. Nothing is just simple like. The ones in the Caravan you can add extra wires on. Don't want to pop that off now because knock the computer off again. So I'm going to run the live wire from that. I'm going to leave it. The idea was to run it under the car and cable tie it on. I had a look under the car. There's very little places I can cable tie anything on. This car is just, everything's awkward about it. Nothing is made to be easy. But you think running a simple wire under the floor would be handy? And it's going to be a problem. And it's a plastic bit. I'll tell you what I discovered here. originally I was thinking, could I take this floor out? Look at all the space the floor underneath, but it's not. That floor underneath is the false one. That screws off. This is part of the car, underneath's not. So I might see about getting an AdBlue tank from the breakage yard and put it in there. And I'll use it for a portable shower. Wash my wee girl in it from time to time if she needs a wee shower. There's a good space for water tank or something in there. Possibly even put the diesel tank in there if I put the diesel heater on. At the end of the day, there's space there. So I'm going to, I'm not doing it today, but after the holidays, I'm going to screw off that bottom panel there. There's not a lot to screw it off, you know. The bumper doors attached on there. But I'm going to explore here. That lump of plastic there is not coming too on the floor. The screws are up on there. 3 or 4 screws. That comes off. Take off the bumper here. The bumper won't come off. That's just, the bumper's attached onto it. And take that down and get a rough idea what space is in there. And if I can attach the diesel tank for the red diesel. But even if I do put the diesel tank in, I might be still fumes off it. The problem with diesel heater is the fumes coming off on a warm day. But the AdBlue tank might even do for diesel. If I got a second-hand AdBlue tank and see if it can hold diesel and connect on the diesel heater, I could use this in the winter time then. But that's for later. I just wanted I'll not be using this in the winter as it is now. I've got the Caravan for the winter, but the Caravan goes done. I might be using this more often then. If you've got a wee heater in it, you don't need insulation. I keep it going, but it's just sort of one problem after another. And I was way out here by building the bed. I think the best thing there is just a solid sheet of plywood. It's got more strength and that takes up depth. I can't afford depth for the time I get my head hitting the roof and I get a towel underneath. So you see there, that inverter battery, that lithium battery going there, no problem. I can get that in. So I'll probably have the lithium battery on where the bed goes to save space. And then whenever the bed's in, whenever I touch the bed in, so I have to, you see this way down here with padlocks. You can do things like that there for handiness. These anchor points. So make sure if your car rolls over, everything doesn't go scoot. So there's a wee bit of thought going in. I'm going to order a toilet now. Once I get the toilet, £35 go outdoors, but you have to be a member, or else £40 on Amazon for the same toilet from Go Outdoors. So I may as well pay the £5 membership or Go Outdoors and get the toilet from them. It's the smallest toilet I can see. It's full size adult seat toilet with I'll say full size, Caravan size, and not full size, but it's lower than normal. But the toilet is sitting up there and your feet is on the lower step and all. It should be alright. Because the things you need to be independent, people go on by solar panels. Once you put a solar panel anchors you down. You can't move the same with a solar panel. If you put on a mains lead to get mains power, you won't get moving. If you've got a toilet, if you're on, I never used the toilet in my Caravan for pooing in, like, until lockdown came. Once lockdown came and I actually started using it, dead handy so it is. And you can go anywhere. You don't have to worry about having to be anywhere for a certain time because of public toilets. You can go on top of a mountain, you got the toilet with you. So back to the same old problem now, the blinds. I'm not going to get the rest fitted. I'm going to cut them out roughly. In fact, maybe I won't bother my hours cutting them out. I'll order the magnets now from Amazon. This back one's going to be a problem too. It's going to be no metal there. It's all plastic. So the thing with the back one, should be less wires. I might use wee self tappers and put on them washers, and then I can use magnets into the washers. Might get around that problem. But if things would stick to the plastic, it'd be a dead dawdle. So we'll leave it at that, see what happens. I think I'll solve the front window now. I made this piece a bit longer, so I'm going to have to set a wee bit of weight on here. It's too complicated to put Velcro on the sides to get everything lined up. So I think if I just have 2 wee weights, one each side, and that'll hold, just let it go floppy. Made it a bit the long side, and that's just seal everything off. When the door's closed, there's no light going to shine in. Wouldn't stick to on the plastics. This stuff comes with Velcro, wouldn't stick. But my sun visor goes back. I thought I could stick it up there at the top. It's too awkward. So I put the Velcro there. 2 big long strips of Velcro, and my sun visor goes back and forward. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the other Velcro now on the other side. So I have the option then of putting the silver on the outside or the black. So if I'm going to camp, I'd already left it a wee bit on the long side here, but I seem to be pretty well stuck even with the heat. It's very warm today. I'm stuck well down at last. So if I put another one of them Velcro pads now on this side, I can reverse it round to reflect the heat. So that seems to be the easiest way to put it up there. So I think that might be the problem solved. I don't want to put holes and dashing off, I don't need to. But I'll see what happens there. What I could even do is, I won't do nothing in a minute, I'll leave it as it is. As it is, if I went away tonight now, it would work. I'll leave it at that. I'll sort these other windows out now. But I might be able to get all the windows done with one roll of stuff. £25. If I had to use 2 rolls, £50 like. But very little time to do. Ages trying to sort out what I'm going to do. So you get the idea now, like. That wee bit of light, so the one's blowing through the car now, so it is. That's why it's blowing all over the place. But whenever the doors just closed during that night, and not be blowing. I was looking for blackout material. The problem with blackout material, it's black on the inside. The problem with curtains, it's black on the inside. When you have a light on at night, you want it cozy. And that's what I thought the silver is better. I'm not worried about Reflectix and all that. The fact it's a light colour. You wouldn't get a black tint inside, would you? Ideally, if I could get yellow, I would went for yellow. Something, because it's always nice a wee bit of light shine against yellow. But it might work, you know. I'm not going to cut the ones for the doors yet. That's quite simple. I'll put the material on with magnets and then I'll cut it. So I'm going to stand away from the magnets first, and that'll solve that problem. And what I'm going to do with this here, I'm deliberately going to make them a wee bit in the large size. I'm not cutting them dead on, so then I'll just stick it on quickly every night. And it's the same with the other one. This one, let's say if the black's on the outside, put onto that side, then the silver's on the outside, so they can swap back and forward. So it definitely should work with magnets. The next problem now is this back window. How to do the back window? It's all plastic all around. So the first one I cut for the front window was cut a couple inches too short. So I'll use the one for the front window now for the back, and it's more than big enough. And it's plastic everywhere, plastic. But I wouldn't worry so much if I had to put a couple of wee washers there and then use magnets if the Velcro doesn't stick. I want it so it goes up quickly. I don't want to be arsing about it at night. I watched a friend put his on. He spent over £100 on his proper ones for the van, and the wee suckers. It doesn't get the window blocked off 100%. It does about 97%. There's a wee gap. And then he got up the next day. He didn't take them off. Too much hassle taking them off. And this is you find with these motorhomes. So I can do a lot more today now. I might look now how I'm going to do this wee unit. I'm going to order a toilet. The toilet will go with the seats as now at the minute. But I'm keeping that seat in there for my holidays for Luna, for the caravan holidays. And when I come back, I'll take the seat out and I'll get the rest of this built. But I want to make a wee unit over this side that's going to hold the chip pan inverter. And then I'll see that I'll be getting a power cable run for this lithium battery. And if the lithium battery could also be kept even over there underneath the air fryer, keep everything together. And then when it comes to charge, it shouldn't have to come to charge because it'll charge off the car battery. But when I go to take it out to put into the caravan, which I would want to do, it'd be handy if it's sitting there somewhere and I can just bring it out. I need to leave a space for Lynn to get in and out. So I can block off this door here. I can block this door off and just have a wee hole for her so she can go underneath the unit. And then the unit is going to screw down onto these fixings that's meant to hold the seat. So I might have to take them out and get a threaded rod, the same type of threaded rod. There's an easy way of doing that if anybody's thinking of doing this. Do you see if you get hold on, I'll just show you now. I'll get a wee bar and show you. Here's a wee bit of metal bar. You can get a bit of metal bar. You can use wardrobe rail, you can use plastic piping, you can use big thick 2 or 3 inch piping, use whatever you want. But you use it as a spacer. That's just an off cut I had. Cut it whatever size you want. Let's say I want the floor that height there now. If I want the floor to run level, my unit, I would get all you need is 2 anchor points. You get 3 if you want. I get 3 anchor points in. And you run your wee bar, the board sits on top. Then you get your threaded rod that goes down through the whole lot and screws in. So you get the idea there now. That bar would come up inside. Your floor or the bottom of your unit will come whatever height you want, and a wee nut. And that whatever size unit I put in here now, the only fixings holding that unit will be these old seat things. And underneath can stay hollow. You're not putting no weight on the floor. Luna and all can still go underneath. So that's what I'm going to do now. I just by chance I had that through the bar there, you know. Wasn't sure if I had one or not. So I'll do that today now. I'll get a wee baseboard in there. I'll get that on.
This is just
Have a
part
job
of my
done.
thinking process.
And this is a piece of wood I had. Now, it's not wide enough for here, but I could bring a metal bracket across. And I've got 2 bits of wood. It's a bit of an old unit, so it matched in quite well and it's bright. But to get it to go right, I'm going to do the bottom layer with a piece of plywood. Just put it in for length and widen it out and cut it to match. And then I could use the rest of the wood for this, for the top. The battery could go in sideways, make it easy to come out to take the caravan. But whenever you get the cushions in, so if you imagine the bed's in there now, you have your bed in there, like, I was thinking, should I cut this now and now, move that back? See, you got to get an idea of floor space and all. The thing about the bed, like, the door widens out. You don't need as much room for your legs as you do your body. And ideally, that's the form I have there, but ideally you'd get a new piece of form and cut it to shape. Because you save a lot more space by doing that way. If I was sitting in the car during the day, the chances of us sitting up against that door. But you see, it's not leaving a big lot of space the rest of the time. And saying that, when Luna jumps in, she'll be on top of the seat. But I'm thinking, what about Diesel? Diesel's not the smallest, like, big illustration. And you definitely get a good unit that way there, like, you know. But I'm thinking, maybe I should just make it this size. Use them 2 bolts and leave that open. I was thinking, if I bring it out as far as there, I'll cut it off there and Luna can run in through there. Because it's not until you get the wood in, you see, so that's too small of a gap for Luna to get underneath there the battery is. Could raise the whole thing up, but that's wasting space. But I don't know about how we deal easy. If I stop it there, Diesel could get in there. But he has to jump up, get in, and jump on top of the bed. I don't know if he'd be able to do that or not. Because the bed's the right height up. The bed has to be just a wee bit high so it joins onto the front seat. And the front seat's folded down. Not sure yet. I could put that whole thing higher up. So that's means you don't go on and start with sawing and cutting. You have to think it out. You know, 'cause it's not just a weekend away. How about that wee one there now? It's not just a weekend away. If I put this in, I want to keep it in all year round. So I can go any weekend I want away. Even better than that, I could go away when I'm not even planned to be away and decide to stay overnight. So I always keep spare underwear and things in here. And I'll buy a bag of chips anywhere, and the inverter and all will be in here the whole time. And I'll keep the leisure battery in here, because even if I'm going to use it in the caravan, I can keep it in the car, keep it fully charged, and then pull it out of the car and take it into the caravan when I want. So them things, the car will be ready to go anytime for overnight staying if I need it. And then if I was to lower that floor there and put a wee bit of carpet on, flatten that off, a wee bit of extra space. If I was to do that now, I could put the original bootliner back in again. In which case, maybe better that's higher up. But if I was to do that, I can put a piece of plywood here and put a false wall on, and then put storage here for the things that normally be underneath there. That'll be, you know, you get a boot in a van. So when you open the door, you'd have spare jump leads, spare light bulbs, WD-40, wee shelves just sitting facing me, but you wouldn't see anything inside. It'd be on the back, and that's how you'd use that space without wasting it all. But just I want a wider board for the sake of bolting it down. So the bottom board would be wide, and then the other 2 shelves would be made of this stuff, and the rest of the wood would be made of this stuff for looks. I keep the bottom board black because I've got black stain. I'm trying to use what I have. I don't want to spend no money. Now, so far it's cost me £25. I've all these butts lying about, so I want to use what I've got. This is my shed here. You see, it's always a mess, but I don't throw nothing out. There's things up in the roof and everywhere. I got all these lockers here from Adria, time they closed down, and them that metal came from Adria. Them bars is from a trampoline. That big metal bar there is from Adria. But a drain pipe, all sorts of things. So anytime I just come rummaging in here if I can find something. So I need to make a wee bracket now, and in there is bits of metal in the offcuts, and that wee blue one there. I have plenty there, but it's all rusty. I'm lying here a long time now. I want to get a wee bit that's not so rusty. That's bigger than I thought. So I'll make a bracket out of that there. I'll cut that. I prefer to use the wee bits when I've got wee jobs like, and rather than waste the big ones. There's all sorts of cuts in there. So I can cut that one. The paint's pretty good on it. So I'll get that one cut there. I have the board roughly cut now. It needs another centimetre taken off to bring that up to my bracket. As far as height goes, I'm going by the height of the glass, so it doesn't sit above the glass. I needed to use the plywood. Plywood's strong for a start. If you're going to anchor in things into the car that's going to withstand an accident, chipboard could fall apart. Plywood will not break. When them anchor rods is in, that ain't going anywhere. We're bolted on there with the threaded rods on there and attached on the back. If you're in an accident, it's going nowhere. But that wood there shake that side. It's all broke up and all, like, you don't see that side. I'll put a bit of plastic over that, make it smooth the dogs going in and out. I'll put another upright. But the biggest problem you have with doing a bit of furniture inside a van or anything like that, you don't know how to get things square or level. You can't do the spirit level. So I'm going to trim this back now to get that centimetre. You see how the wood's touching there but not touching there. I'm roughly going by the gap there, but you see if you stand back here and look at the trim, you see the trim is more or less level there, but there's a tiniest wee gap there, so that board needs to go up. But it mightn't look much, but that board has to go up about another centimetre at that end to get that level. So once I get this cut off here now, I'll sand it all down, because once it's bolted too hard to sand, get all the edges done. I'll put a wee spacer underneath there to lift that board up level with that. I'll mark it in that board. I'll then take this in the shed and I'll build the rest in the shed where I can get it square. Bring it back in again, set it in, and even if the whole thing's crooked here, it'll be square when it's built. That's the idea anyway. So we'll see how it goes. I'm near the time to assemble this now, so I tighten up these nuts now on the floor. The hardest bit now is going to be lining up the threaded rods. But I get them in tight there, and then I'll drill holes through the wood and put it on with 2 bolts from the side. But get that really tight. The thing is now, I need to watch I don't lose 2 screws from MOT. Normally I keep the screws in there, but once I take the screws out, the wee bugs can get lost. So I might just keep them on the wee footwell thing, a wee cupboard in there. I might just put them in there when I'm finished. Get a wee spacer in there now, get this as level as I can. Draw a line on here. I won't bother bolting that on there yet until everything's squared up. You don't always go back or forward or nothing until everything's screwed up. So I'll get a wee spacer in here to get it level. I'm going to hold this board up in place. And that'll get my heighting all done right then. Believe it or not, several hours have passed on making of this thing here. The rods I has doesn't fit, so I drilled the holes for them, and I make metal spacers and they can be put on later. I'm going to keep the battery here, under here, so I can pull the battery out and take to the caravan when I'm away in the caravan. Or I can pull it out, take it to the house to charge until whatever time I get the mains power going from the car engine. On the side about the inverter, I'd like the inverter to go there, but them bars are going to be in the way. So I might do that later. There's an upright going here, and the water container is going to sit in here. That way then I can put the water container on from outside, and yet it's easy access from the inside. Chip pan is going to sit here. so it can vent to the outside as well. I can open up the car window. And the other wee cupboard's in our one, that's going to be storage. So I'm putting an upright here, an upright there, and a shelf in between. I'm going to carry some dog food and all, and pants, underwear, basic t-shirts, just very basics. There'll be no extra coats and things like that there, like. That's going to be basics. So I'm going to get this screwed together now. And I've drilled the holes here in this bracket now to bolt it on. So it's going to bolt on here. I'm going to put 3 bolts through here. That's tied down to the car floor. There'll be 3 bolts going through there, and that'll hold that really tight. And all I do then at the very end is I might put an anchor point on there. Just put another anchor point and padlock it. Padlock's there anyway. And that, if I'm in an accident, it ain't going nowhere. So I'm getting all these wee uprights on now, and then I put the top on. It's a wee bit on the high side. It says the top's got to be cut narrow for this here, but I don't want to go and lower them all. It's too much hassle. You need air and all for the chip panel to get out. So I'm going to take this out now and screw all these uprights, screw it into the car, and then I'll put the tabletop on last. And then my loon's away. Run. No! I put one wee shelf on there. I don't bother hiding screws. Don't go see them anyway. And all it needs now is a top put on. But if it had a bit lower, it would have been a bit neater there with a light. But at the same time, like I went by the height of the window, and it's more storage space. To lower the whole lot down now is a lot of hassle, like. So I'm going to put in the bolts now to hold this. There's the wee bolts there. So that there's screwed on. That's where the seat normally screws on. The bolts will go into the holes that are pre-drilled. So I'm going to need 2 hands to put this on here. But you get the idea anyway. You put the nut on one side. So I'll pause it here. Once it gets started, I can do it. So there's the wee nut on now. I'll tighten it up here. So you need 2 hands. I need 2 hands. I need an assistant here. Good and tight now. Good and tight, that sounds German, doesn't it? Good and tight. Do you get the idea now? So that ain't going nowhere there, like. Super strong, going nowhere. Put another 2 in now, and that's her. I haven't got the right size of threaded rod for there, so I'll leave the threaded rod. And then the lizard bat, can sit there. I might put a wee bit of wood in the inside step going into the car itself. I can't come out with the door. That might do that job. So we'll get these screwed on first. This is the day after yesterday. And I sat in the car last night. Well, not all night. After I finished, I just sat in the car to get an idea of the space. And I was going to widen that tabletop out to match the door and all, leaving a small gap for the heat, but I'm not happy with it. I am not happy with it at all. And a couple of things I've been thinking about. Mainly I went by the depth of the shelves, going by the caravan, but what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to cut them shelves down to half its thickness and move the whole cabinet back. I want more space in the middle. Now, this bed's not the right size yet, but I want more space in the middle. And I'm really thinking of trying to shorten as well. The water container doesn't really have to have access, it's light. So I might cut it down a bit shorter, leave more room for diesel. Also, I'd like the idea of walking in and out that door. I tried last night, you know, and I think if I was getting in and out, I'd rather get in that door as get in the side where the bed's at, keep the bed drier and all. The whole idea of doing it that way, because I wanted the anchor point. But I'll anchor it on to them bolts there, move it back a bit. So this is the prototype. I was thinking then, the lake of the water doesn't have to have a side. The side's there because of the anchor point. If the side's there, the shelf can still come out, but be hinged. So whenever the water's not there, it can be hooked up. And you know them wee T-hinges you get, you know, a wee bit of wood flats, a wee side table type of thing. So when I'm going away in the van, just throw the water down on the floor somewhere, and then when I'm in the van then, drop, once the door's closed, drop down the wee shelf, put the water on, but I still have access in and out. I want to get a portable toilet here. It's going to be hard getting a portable toilet in here now at the minute. Now, I put the floor back on there. That floor can come off. That gives a bit of extra space. But I'm thinking too, the toilet would be better on this side as you get the door. So if I want to empty the toilet, that seat's coming away. I want to empty the toilet, them cushions there are in 3. So this cushion will come off. If I want to use the toilet, lift the board off and the chemical toilet will be there. And if I want to empty it, it's easy to lift it out through this door. It's not until you actually sit in the space. But say that's all what I had learned about the house. Now I wasted most of the day trying to think out what I'm going to do. Getting things fitted in. But if it's not right, it's not right. And if I get to I'm going to put sliding doors on there as well. Move that shelf back a wee bit and put sliding doors on. And a wee hook. But see, you think about all you have to bring. Like, I can't, you got your duvet and all that there, sleeping bag, whatever, your pillow, all that stuff's going to have to go in the front seat. I think as far as clothes, I got a small suitcase and keep clean clothes in the small suitcase. And they can also sit in the front. And I think even a small suitcase for dog food. And then I was thinking with dog food too, this is not going to be like an all week. It's not intended for all week, but I'd like to go away all week if I could go right down south. Do the White Atlantic Way in this wee car. And if I was to do the White Atlantic Way, the like of dog food and stuff, you get so much under that floor there, like you stack it onto footwells. It's amazing when I went on the motorbike, you'd be amazed what you can stack in. But the like of heavy dog food can go right down in the footwell there in the front seat. Ideally, if I go away for a week, I'll take that front seat out. That'll free up a lot of space taking the front seat out for a week's holiday. But for a weekend, I'll keep it in. And but a wee bit of thinking, and then if it works out perfect, I can get a nice wee bit of wood and make a wee proper one then. But I won't do that until it's tried out. So I'm taking Luna for a wee walk now. I'm not working at that today. I'm going to screw that out today. I'm finished with that today. I'll scribe it in. I'm going to scribe it in to might even do a wee better how to scribe furniture in. Because you see all the different angles and all that. You've got to scribe it in to get the most of your space. Another thing too, why I made it thinner, the chip pan's not that deep, the water container's not that deep. So the deepest part of it's sort of been wasted. My original idea was to put on a false back so I can hang things and all on the other side. Things would normally be in the boot, you know, WD-40, all that kind of stuff. The tote bag sits neatly in there. Take out half the crap that doesn't need to be in there, and it can sit there. It doesn't get in the way of the pup's walking in and out. You always need a wee tool bag, wee spanners and things. But at least now I know where the battery and all is going to go and stuff like that. See, that's another thing too. If I do put that back, then the battery won't go there. See, that's the problem, you see. The battery I sit on there, but I have to sit side on instead of that way. Makes no odds, it'll still work. And that's why it's handy seeing things sort of up, seeing how things fit in. You know, even that space on the floor there is sort of wasted. Now that I've got that floor on, but that floor is not staying on, it's coming off. But sometimes you think, well, maybe I should make that lower, maybe I should make it higher. The reason why I height it is because it fits on the back of the car there. And the battery fits. Well, if it's lower, the battery wouldn't fit. And it wouldn't have a support at that side. There's that many wee things to take into consideration. Working project. Well, I've decided that we haven't much time now. I'm cutting 4 inches off this shelf outside here. But because of the angles and stuff, it doesn't mean 4 inches come off everything. So you get your tape measure and you mark your line there at 4 inches. 4 inches, mark a pencil line. Pencil line. When it comes to here, you can see there's a gap of 4 inches anyway. So nothing comes off there. There's still going to be a bigger gap of 4 inches here, but you need room for heating all to get up from the chip pan. So that's no problem. And the door slamming, you want hands and paws and all to get caught. So that's okay. When it comes to the bottom here, 4 inches. I'm going from the bottom of the door, so I'm only cutting half. In reality, I'm cutting half 2 3/4 inches there, like to get that down to 4 inches. This shelf in the middle here is actually I haven't actually drawn the line on. I marked it, but before I changed to 4 inches, the same idea. You go around the whole thing of 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, but you hold the tape measure to where you're marking. I'll just do this one here because this one hasn't been marked yet. I was originally going to do it smaller. So like that there, I would hold the tape measure against the wall and then I'd mark my 4 inches. A wee line. and I'll do the same down there, and then I put a straight edge between the two. It's very hard. I can't see. The problem I have, you see in the light shines off my outside, it blinds you. So you draw a line between the two, and then you cut off the 4 inches. You see this line here now? That's a minute, Lena, because that goes on in. So I don't cut that bit on there 4 inches because of the gap there anyway. So I'll cut that out there, that'll fit. She's licking me. But I want to get them away for a walk down this morning. This doesn't have to be done now after my caravan holidays. I'll get away from using this, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking on now as well. So the same here, that was a bit tight there. So there's the 4 inches and a wee bit extra. You see where the bottom, because of the shape of the car, it's not matter cutting the whole line the whole way because the car's not square. So by cutting that away there now, cutting that away, whenever I take it apart now, take out the screws, I'll label them, make sure A, B, C, D, like you would flat pack, everything goes back the same way, and the whole thing goes back 4 inches. Another thing I'm thinking on then is, because originally I was thinking of putting dog food. It's not going to work dog food. I'm going to put dog food in a suitcase in the front. Another thing I'm thinking on then, I wouldn't mind a wee compressor fridge in here, because the car gets a lot warmer than the caravan, and I'll be doing a lot more driving in the car than I'm in the caravan. So a compressor fridge I keep cool with a cigarette lighter up there. It's not like a cool box. They work like a proper fridge in the house. You get a small one for about 150. So if I can have a compressor fridge under the bed here and have the toilet under the bed over there, so I lift the cushions up and need a bit of space in between. So I'm going to get this screwed out now, and then I'm going to go away in the car now today. The last couple of wee pencil lines to do. I was even thinking here, you know, if I was to cut that there, took off this end bracket, the water bottle can still sit there, but diesel can get in and out. I want diesel to get out, and I could get in and out. So by taking that away there, I can get in and out, and then when I'm in there I can stand that bottle up. So a wee bit of modifications. But almost the idea about these bolts here. On a motorbike, anybody has a motorbike, motorbike axle's got a split pin in it. But you also get other pins similar and used in other items. And what they are, they're an R-shaped pin. The pin is the shape of an R. That's what the pin looks like. When you get your round bolt, you drill a hole in it. You push your bolt through, and instead of putting the nut on, you slide through that R pin. And that's a quick release. So you put your bolt through R pin, you can just pull out the R pins, and that thing comes out in seconds instead of bolts. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a couple of them, and you can use ordinary bolts, drill a hole through it, and then just about putting your wee R pin through it. I should even have some about the house somewhere, you know. I used them on the motorbikes, but I'm going to give them away when I start a motorbike. But it's not hard to get R pins. Big things, they're big things. The bigger they are, you get your finger in it and give it a good pull, and that's quick release.